We're back for 2 hours of fun in the sun. Actually, we have some sun now. We just came through a hurricane. What was it, Nicole? Yeah. And we're in good shape. Boy, is your life as exciting as ours? I mean, we got hurricanes, we got COVID, we got the war in Ukraine, we got inflation, elections. Uh, what a wild town! I'm telling you, the whole country, the whole world is going nuts. And the car dealers are the nuttiest of all, and that's why we're here. We're here to help you navigate around car dealers to purchase a new car or used car, lease maybe, maintain, repair, and we're kind of we're in the 21st century. I say we, everybody except car dealers. Car dealers are still operating like they did 100 years ago, shortly after Henry Ford invented the assembly line, and we have mass-produced automobiles. And we have a dealer network, car dealers, and they are entrenched in what they do. They're entrenched in the 19th and 20th century is where they are. I mean, they're still selling horses. It's haggling, it's trading, it's negotiating. I mean, can you imagine any other product that you buy if you had to go through what you have to go through when you buy a car? Now, we got the worst of all situations with all the other issues we have with the microchip shortage. We've got the precious metal shortage. We've got the war in Ukraine. We have the economy issue with the inflation, high interest rates. And car dealers are thriving. I mean, you would think that it would have hit them harder, but even though the manufacturers can't build as many cars and they can't ship as many cars, the dealers have figured out a unique solution. They just keep increasing the price. So if they only get one car, if they sell it for $10 million, I'm exaggerating slightly, but car dealers are selling their cars for thousands over sticker, MSRP. I mean, if you'd have said this to me 2 years ago, I'd say you're smoking something, because nobody's going to pay thousands of dollars over MSRP. People back, the educated consumer, a couple of years ago would not even consider paying MSRP. Today, if you find a dealer that'll sell you a new car for MSRP, it's a steal. So here we are, and to help you, every morning when Nancy Stewart, my co-host, sitting next to me here in the studio, every morning when we drive into the station, we talk about, well, what are we going to talk about today? What are we, did you see anything in the paper, automotive news, Wall Street Journal? Is there anything, New York Times? And then when we finally start yakking, we say, what we're going to talk about is what the people that call the show want to talk about, because that's why we're here. And fortunately, because we're doing such a good job, I guess, in reaching out, we're having calls from all over. I mean, and I'm probably jinxing myself because we love the calls, but we have calls for 2 hours, and it's your comments, constructive criticism or even unconstructive. We take any kind of criticism or advice you might have to offer. We answer your questions. And remember this, we get hung up on buying and selling, leasing, I should say, but maintaining and repairing is very important. I always remind you, we have Rick Kearney here in the studio, along with Earl Stewart, me, and my son Stu, and my wife Nancy. Rick Kearney is a certified master diagnostic technician, and he's on top of what he does. He's not fixing cars the way he did 20 years ago, because cars are totally different, and they're computers, rolling computers is what they are, and they're going to get more and more computerized as time goes by. But if you have a problem with your car, call 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. And you can ask for Rick. You can pose your question. It can be something that you don't want to take in to get fixed because you don't want to go into a car dealer. I get that. That's why we're here. You might be able to get a diagnosis right here on the telephone. If you want to text us, you can text us at 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. But even better than that, Rick Kearney monitors YouTube. So you go to youtube.com/Earl on Cars. youtube.com/Earl on Cars. And you can talk directly to Rick. You post on YouTube, and you can even send an attachment, audio clip, video clip. That's really helpful if you could do that. And say, hey, my car does this, it does that. Do I need to take it in? How much is it going to cost? If I don't get it fixed, is it going to get any worse? Blah, blah, blah. You know all the questions you have. Those same questions that you have if you go into the car dealer, it's going to cost you a couple $1,000s. Maybe you get by here with nothing. So youtube.com/Earl on Cars, or just call us at 877-960-9960. Now, we have coming up on every show, sometimes I forget to mention this, we've done it for so many years, it's automatic, mystery shopping report. When I explain it to people that haven't heard about it, that's when I get excited, because when I explain it, I say, that's really cool. I mean, we do it every week, and we've been doing it for years and years. We've done thousands, I guess, of these mystery shopping reports. We send an undercover agent out, obviously, with not identifying their real name, and they go in and they pretend to buy or lease a car, and they go into a real dealership, and we get a report. I mean, they're in there for maybe an hour, and they go through all the same stuff that you go through when you try to go and buy or lease a car. And they report exactly what happens. I mean, it's a 60 Minutes kind of Mike Wallace thing. It's a name names. We name the salesman. We name the dealership. We tell you exactly what happened. If they broke the law, we say they broke the law. Now, let me tell you something, folks. If you accuse somebody of breaking the law, and you're not being sincere about this, and you're not right about that, and they could prove you're not right about that, you're in serious trouble. I mean, that's libel or slander, whichever form of comment it may be. So we've been doing this for 20 years, never been sued. We tell the truth. Truth is a perfect defense against libel and slander. But we will have such a report at the end of the show. It'll be, last half hour of the show, 2 hours, we're on for 2 hours. Last half hour, we do our mystery shopping report. Stu Stewart, my son, is sitting across from me. He's in charge of that. He has our current outstanding mystery shopper. Her pseudonym is Agent Lightning. And boy, does she do a job. I'm telling you, she is dynamite. And we've had several mystery shopping reports over the years. I got to say, she's the best of the best. And, sooner or later, we're going to have to add another mystery shopper report, because she's hitting a lot of different dealerships. She goes to such a wide. She goes all the way to Pennsylvania, Tennessee. I mean, so she spreads out wide enough where she can go back and hit another dealership twice. Typically, she's gone in before because they have her name in the computer, but they've never busted her yet. I always get nervous when they go to the computer to get her.
Yeah.
Because you think they have their mystery shopper. Do not call the police. Do not,
I don't think so, because, first of all, when we read the report, it's sometimes several days, sometimes weeks removed.
Yeah.
It's not exactly, these don't happen on Friday.
Yeah, we're probably not as important as we think we are.
Yeah, and, in a busy dealership, and I can just tell you, speaking from our experience, we have a lot of people that come in all the time and never buy cars. And
sure.
They're not mystery shoppers. They just, take a longer time.
Put them in the computer.
Yeah, sometimes it takes people years to finally make a decision.
Yeah.
We have an old-time customer who just bought a used Highlander from us.
Yeah.
And I just fell out of my chair when I found out it has been really nearly a decade that he's been shopping. But it happens.
I respect what you're saying, but at this moment,
You still get nervous.
I have the chills and I go, shh.
Well, we have to be.
But that was a good question, interrupting you for a moment, Earl. Or what Earl said, he made a statement. He said Agent Lightning might be in the dealership for an hour doing this mystery shop. Is it about an hour, or is it more than that?
No, it depends. Sometimes she's been in and out pretty quick, and then sometimes it gets dragged out. They tend to be pretty quick. I think they tend to be about an hour to an hour and a half is what the average shop is. But she's been there longer, and she's also been in there about 45 minutes too.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, get back to the important thing about how to reach us, because you make the show. That's just not a cliche. We don't say that to make you feel good. The fact is, you do make the show. I mean, you know, we learn things from you. I'm particularly on YouTube. Rick's got some callers or YouTubers or whatever you want to call them, and I'm telling you, a couple of them there, they are really good. I mean, they correct us because we are wrong. We make mistakes, and they give us suggestions that don't occur to us. And we've got texters. Anne Marie is one of the famous texters. She'll text, and Sue will pick that up. She is incredible. She comes up with some of the most amazing observations and suggestions. One of the venues that I haven't mentioned yet this morning is our anonymous contact way to reach us, a way that you can say anything you want to us. You can make a suggestion. You can chew us out. You can ask a question. I mean, anything you want to do. We just don't know who you are. And the more I think about it, the more I hear it, privacy is becoming so important. It used to bother me because I figure, you know, if you can't look me in the face and tell me I don't want to talk to you, I mean, that kind of a belligerent attitude. The fact of the matter is, that's not right. Anonymity is really good. Think about it. The hotline when you call the police. I mean, if you got a really nasty guy out there doing some bad stuff, you don't want to have your name in the newspaper saying that, and your address, in your picture, saying that we got the information to try to find this really bad guy from this person. So I understand privacy. So use this anonymous feedback number if you want your privacy. Your anonymousfeedback.com. It's not a number. It's a web address. It's a URL. Your anonymousfeedback.com. ANONYMOUS feedback. Your anonymousfeedback.com. And we can't track you. And this is not a Mickey Mouse thing either. It's not a link that we just came up with. This is a lot of blue chip companies use this. Adobe is one that comes to mind. I think Google. I mean, there are a lot of really cool companies out there. They like to get feedback from their customers too, but also from their employees. I mean, think about it. Wouldn't it be cool if you worked for a company, my company, my dealership, we use this there. So if we have anybody that works here, we have about 150 employees. And, you know, like Rick Kearney works for me. If Rick wanted to say some really nasty stuff about me, he could do your anonymous feedback. And he could call me any kind of a name or anything he wanted to do. I mean, not the fact that he would do it, but it makes people feel good to know they could do it. I mean, because we have no, you know, anybody can get me. I mean, anybody can call me, call Stu, and not be identified and make an observation about our company or about a radio show.
Interrupt you for a second. Let's go back to our residents. And at a time when we had people calling us prospective customers at 6 a.m. And at times they weren't saying, well, such nice things. But then we moved on and progressed, and they were calling to compliment us. That's when we had a landline.
Okay. So there we go. We've got 877-960-9960. That is our old-fashioned phone. And I always say, Nancy monitors it. She has a laptop, and she'll see your name, where you're calling from, and we prioritize that. We will stop whatever we're doing, like what I'm doing now. I'm yakking, or we might have reading an article or whatever we're doing. We go to telephone calls for two reasons. First of all, we love the personal nature of the call, but we also only have 5 lines, and we don't want to keep you waiting. So please call our regular phone number. That's our preferred line, 877-960-9960, or you can use your text, 772-497-6530. I'll flip the mic over to Nancy Stewart, my co-host. You've heard her earlier, and she is monitoring the regular phone line, but she also is a female advocate, and that's her really special function on this show is to build our female audience. We really want more women out there to call in, and we've got it. We've got it pretty much to 50-50. So if you're a woman, Nancy wants you to call in, and she'll explain that to you.
We do. Good morning, everyone. And as you can feel and hear, yes, feel through the lines, the energy, great energy that goes on right here in the studio. We're here to make you feel good and give you the truth, which will make you feel good. We're here to motivate and inspire. But most of all, we want to thank all of you for being part of the show here, Earl Stewart on Cars. And for the ladies, I have $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. The first 2 new lady callers, $50. Give us a call. Let us know how your transaction went, whether you had service, whether you have to wait maybe too long for a vehicle, anything at all. Just give us a call. And our platform, it has definitely grown with the ladies. And I have some news about shortages. I was thinking this morning as I came in and remembered how my phone was blown up by politics. Am I glad it's over? I'm glad that voting is over, and I'm sad to say, we don't have a shortage of politicians, and they're the ones that we're depending upon again, and we hope that they can hear our voices. That's Attorney Ashley Moody. That's Governor Ron DeSantis. And if you're listening, listen to us loud and clear. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And don't forget, as Earl said, your anonymous feedback.com. We're going to go with the phones right off, and we're going to talk to Tim, who's calling us from Stewart. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning. Last year I threw a time belt on a Volkswagen 2010 Volkswagen Passat, and I took it to an old mechanic friend of mine, and he dropped a new engine in there, and it was working fine, still running fine. But now I'm getting this engine pressure seal light that keeps coming on to turn the engine off, and and it keeps flashing. And but I took it to a guy, and he said if it was your rear engine seal, you'd have oil blasting out of where the engine meets the transmission, and that's not the case. So I'm a little bewildered about seeing what the cause is, see what the remedy is. And I was looking at this. I went online, and they said that they have this something you can put in your oil that seals it from the inside, an engine seal liquid or something. So that's why I was calling the professionals, you guys.
Right off the bat, I never recommend any sort of additional, any chemicals, additives like that. Generally, they wind up causing more harm than good. My recommendation is find a good qualified Volkswagen mechanic, somebody that knows those systems. It could be as simple as the crankcase valve starting to plug up and building too much pressure there. Yeah, that's something I would be looking for, somebody that knows Volkswagens a lot better. I'm really not up on the German cars myself. My first thing that I'd recommend, because Volkswagen is one of those, kind of like Jeep, they've got a really great following. I would look online for local forums and talk to owners online and find out who they take their cars to for repairs. They will give you some of the best recommendations for a local technician for you.
Okay, because I took it to one guy, and he said, sell it. So he said, clean it up and sell it. So, and then I took it to another guy, he said, I'll drop the transmission, but, that's $100 an hour. It's a 10-hour job.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, well, what I'll do is thanks for the information. I'll check around and I'll go online.
Thanks for thinking of us, Tim. Give us a call again.
Thanks for helping.
You're welcome. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Wow, we have a doozy of a mystery shopping report, so you want to stay tuned for that. And mystery shop comes from Greco Ford, Delray Beach, Florida. It's going to be, well, hang on to your hats. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Well, let's check with Stu, and we have any text over there, Stu?
We do. We have a big one waiting for us from Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie says, good morning and hallelujah. Jalopnik.com reports that a team of Swedish engineers has finally developed a seat evaluation tool, aka crash dummy, designed on the body of the average woman. The tool is 162 centimeters, which is 5 feet 3 inches tall, and it's 62 kilograms, which is 136.4 pounds. That's about the size of my wife. This tool was developed by a team led by Dr. Astrid Linder, Director of Traffic Safety at the Swedish National Road and Transport Research Institute. This crash test dummy was developed because females are typically shorter and lighter than males, and they respond differently in a car crash. Now that this tool has been created, legislators will need to tweak their testing requirements and force its use. Right now, there is no legal requirement for car safety tests for rear impact collisions to be carried on anything other than the average man under current EU and the U.S. testing regulations. By the way, crash test dummies based on males have been around since 1949. That's 73 years. The first child-size mannequin came along in 1994. There was even a crash test moose used in testing earlier this year. But there hasn't been a representative female human crash test dummy until now. In the past, they just used a scaled-down version of a male test unit, roughly in line with the proportions of a 12-year-old girl. And there's an additional editorial comment from this show's listener, a.k.a. Anne-Marie. Note to car manufacturers and insurance companies. Female musculature and bone structure differs from males. Females buy and drive at least half the vehicles out there, and we would like to be protected as well as the males have been. Thank you. No, thank you, Anne-Marie.
Thank you very much,
I
Anne-Marie.
can't imagine why somebody doesn't jump on that with both feet. I'm telling you, gee, imagine an auto manufacturer that
Yeah,
says,
Ford says we test everybody.
yeah, we test females. I mean, if you're a female, you buy that car. I mean, all you got to do is say the competition uses male dummies, therefore it's unsafe for a female, relatively speaking. I don't
So
know
that's
why.
happening in Sweden. So
What a great
or
story.
if it's going to be the EU. I don't know if it's just going to be in Sweden or the entire European Union. If it's the entire European Union, that's going to have a big impact on all manufacturers. I mean, they could have European versions of their cars, but if they're going to test their cars, they might as well get some of those female crash test dummies.
Yeah, for sure. And the
Seat
reason
evaluation tools.
exactly, and the reason for that is because 20 to 28% more women
More likely.
get killed.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a much higher
likely
chance. Yeah.
to get killed in an accident. And boy, we've been kicking this around for so long.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie, I can't thank you enough.
I think the
What a great
Swedish ambassador has
text.
been listening to the show.
I think so.
Well, they started out with the male dummies, and they said back in the 40s, well, in the 40s,
Right.
women didn't know how to drive.
Right.
And so,
But Moose did, so then they developed a moose dummy immediately after they did the man.
they had a moose dummy before a female dummy.
I have a feeling they developed the moose dummy so they could drive the car into it to see what would happen to the car.
I really think that they need to fine tune this a little more. I don't like the numbers that that Anne-Marie shared
Yeah.
about the 5'3", so on and so on. I'm 5'3" and I'm 114 pounds. You know where that leaves me? Airborne.
Well, you're just a little bit smaller than the dummy.
And pardon me.
You're just a little bit smaller than the dummy.
Well, let's get rid of the moose and let's concentrate on the women
Could've
because
been-
there are
it was a
more women
female
on the
moose.
road.
It was a female moose.
Did you say female?
I'm not sure. Okay.
Female moose?
We have more texts unless we have any phone calls. to
Thanks
get to.
again, Anne-Marie.
This one's for Rick. It comes in from Bob. He says, "Good morning. My question is, what are the absolute best disc brake pads in reference to durability and brake dust accumulation?"
I would stick with factory brand pads made for your car and designed for it. And I would definitely stick with what are known as ceramic brake pads versus the semi-metallic or the metallic pads. Semi-metallic and metallic pads will wear the brake rotors a lot more. And brake pads, of course, they're all going to create dust. You're always going to be cleaning them. But I'd rather put up with a little more dust and replacing brake pads that are about, depending on where you get them, $50 to $75 for a set of brake pads versus $150 to $200 for each rotor.
That makes a lot of economic sense.
Okay, Google, best of the best brake pads. These the 5 best. Adelco, Bosch, B-O-S-C-H,
They make a fine washing machine.
Akibono, sounds Japanese.
Which is what Toyota uses.
Akibono.
Akibana?
StopTech,
That was like the
S-T-O-P-T-C-H.
Japanese U2.
And last, Wagner. So there you have the top 5 brake pads. Adelco, Bosch, Akibono,
There we go.
StopTech, and Wagner.
And Consumer Reports does not rate brake pads.
Sounds like a
I
law
just
firm.
All right, well, thanks.
I'm going to interrupt you for a minute, Stu. We're going to go back to the phones where Tim's holding in Jupiter. Good morning, Tim.
Hey, folks, how you doing this morning?
We're great. Thank you for calling.
Good. Well, how does it get any better than getting up on a Saturday and listening to a lively discussion of crash test dummies?
There you go.
That's why I woke up this morning.
And don't forget Moose.
Yeah, that's right.
Meese.
Hey, I got a question. I've called once or twice in the past. You guys, nothing recently. You guys have always been helpful. I've got a 2019 Jeep Cherokee Latitude. It's got about 50,000 miles on it. We were driving home the other night, almost ready to pull in the driveway, and I felt a little bit of a hitch or tug, and the check engine light came on, and 3 other lights came on. One of the park brake lights, I think it was electronic stability control activation or malfunction, and one other light. I didn't take a picture of the dash. I should have. But we took it over to a well-known franchise auto repair shop here in Jupiter. They charged me $150 for the diagnostic, and said that there's some kind of a sensor problem, and I didn't get the specifics on it. They thought they had one. Turns out they had to order one. This all was about November 1st. They said, well, it'll be in about the 10th. But they said that, the vehicle's okay to drive, but we didn't want to drive it a lot. Drove it a few times. Those same lights came on, and we had a slight problem with the power steering after we started the car up. But when the car was moving, there were no issues other than those lights were on the dash. And then a couple days ago, and the sensor's still not in. We've called them a couple times to follow up. A couple days ago, miraculously, I guess, 3 of the lights, started the vehicle. Check engine light came on, but those 3 other warning lights were off. Drove the car a little bit, came home. The next day, we started the car again. And this was now a day or 2 ago. No check engine light, so everything was fine. The car felt fine. I turned it on this morning, drove around the block again, no problems. So I'm wondering if we should still go. They wanted, I don't know, close to $200 for that sensor and the labor. I'm wondering if these things can kind of just resolve themselves, reset themselves. Should I cancel this little fix with the sensor, or should I go ahead with it? What do you guys think?
Actually, without knowing exactly what part they were recommending, it's kind of a gray area, hard to really give you a definitive answer there. But what happens is if the computer system in the car detects a problem with a sensor or an actuator, a valve or something, and then that problem goes away, like we've seen valves, switching valves, that will get stuck for a moment or two, or a sensor that may have a little bit of debris on the sensor, and then it clears itself and the problem goes away. And if the computer sees over a certain amount of time that sensor or actuator is now working properly, then it will clear the codes and erase that information. It'll still store it in a memory to where later a technician can go back in with a scan tool and pull that information up and say, okay, we saw you had this problem back then, but it corrected itself and now you're okay. That way, if it does occur again, if everything's working normally and nice right now, I would cancel that order and wait and see. And if the condition comes back, then go ahead and get it done. But if it's working good now, I'd go with it.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. I was kind of leaning that direction. So you're saying that the computer will probably save the codes if it has reset, and that could be drawn out at a future date if this problem reoccurs. Is that right?
Yes. However,
Okay.
there is a certain point in time where if that computer does not see that issue again at all for, say, I think it's usually something on the line of like 60 cycles of the key or so, and it says, okay, I haven't seen that problem in a long time. Obviously, it's fixed. The computer will simply erase that information and say, nope, we're back to good. Everything is good now.
Okay. All right. That's good enough for me. I really appreciate your viewpoint on that, and just love the show, folks.
Well, thanks very much.
Thanks so much, Tim. Give us a call again.
Okay. All right.
Have a great
bye-bye.
day. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Ladies, I have a question for you. You heard Anne Marie's a message this morning that she sent Stu, and what an important topic it is to test female dummies. Let me ask you a question, okay? This should help you. It prompt you to give us a call, and you can win $50 if you're the first 2 new female callers. Okay, here's the question. What do you think? Crash test dummies that are better reflect how women's bodies react to the forces of a crash. It's pretty simple. What do you think? It's time, right? 877-960-9960. Win yourself $50. First 2 new female callers. Now back to Stu.
We have some anonymous feedback that came in a few over the last few days, and it was in reference to Agent Lightning's purchase of a new car a couple of months ago. And for the listeners who are not familiar with that, Agent Lightning actually purchased a new car during a mystery shop and from a competing Toyota dealership, and the anonymous feedback addresses the fact that she had overpaid for the car, and I'm not going to read them out directly because a lot of them were pretty harsh, and the person making these comments do not know Agent Lightning personally, and so I don't think it's appropriate to make some of the comments. But I do want to point out that we've said on this show over and over again that it's not a good time to buy a good car, but unfortunately there are millions of people that have to buy a new car. And for this year, they call it the SAR. It's the estimate of the amount of new cars going to be sold this year is over 14 million. So there's 14 million people out there that are purchasing new cars in 2022 that aren't stupid. They're in a situation that really sucks. They have to get a car, and the car dealers are behaving badly. So the anonymous feedback poster said this is not a question of car dealers' bad behavior. It's a question of consumers' intelligence. And it is not, absolutely not. This is a situation of a pandemic-induced situation that has created a dynamic that dealers are taking advantage of, and some people can't help but get into that situation.
Plus, in this case, is a perfect example that proves just what you said. Automobiles in certain areas, in fact, most areas, are a necessity. The way the U.S. is set up, if you don't have some form of personal transportation, you might have a real problem.
Right, chicken is at an all-time high price. No one is suggesting people stop eating.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different product, but it's
and this Agent Lightning has worked for us for a while, and she's been our mystery shopper. We know her very well. She's an extremely intelligent person, and she wanted to buy a car. So she said we sold her a car, and we price all of our Toyotas at MSRP with out the door. We don't have anything, hidden fees. Great price, and she really thanked us.
Well,
but she had to have a car.
No, she bought it from Treasure Coast. She paid over MSRP.
She wanted to buy it from
Wanted
us.
to, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah,
would
yeah.
sell it to her
Yeah, she
for
couldn't wait.
MSRP.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
couldn't wait for it.
Right.
And so she couldn't wait because she had to have the car, and so that's what people do. So it isn't. If you can wait, then you should. If you can't wait, you can't wait. You shop around, get the best price you can.
Yeah. And Agent Lightning, she didn't buy it because she was fooled by anything. She went in there with bile rising in her throat. She was forcing it down as she went through this. It wasn't a happy experience.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Right.
And you can't stamp stupid on a person's forehead when something like that happens.
Yeah, it's
Because
unfortunate.
if you listen to what Stu said, Agent Lightning had to purchase a vehicle. She had family, she needed a car, and this, by the way, can happen to anyone. I don't care whether you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, psychiatrist, anybody. It can happen. When you're in a situation, and for lack of another word, you're desperate, things happen. And it's not because of a lack of knowledge.
That's right. We have more anonymous feedback. This comes in. It says, "Good morning. Do you have any tips on buying a new car related to, one, buying with cash, or two, how to deal with the F&I office?"
Well, if you're sophisticated and you have a bank and a credit union, it can be, based on your personal situation, the preferred way to go. Get a competitive low rate. You don't want to finance through the dealership unless the manufacturer is offering a special subsidized low interest rate. Cash, in my personal philosophy, I've always looked at it this way: if I could get a good competitive low interest rate, I'd rather invest my money and have that money earn a greater rate than I would if I could get a competitively low loan rate. So the thing that universally is true: don't go directly to the dealership and have them finance the car for you, because car dealers typically make more money financing your car than they did when they sold you the car. That's not true today because dealers are making thousands over MSRP, but in normal times, car dealers make more money financing your car than they do, and they buy the money from the bank, so to speak, and they mark it up just like they mark the car up, and then they loan it to you. Eliminate the middleman. That's the dealer. When you finance to the dealer, go directly to the bank that the dealer gets his money from, or better yet, go to your own bank because you have a relationship there, and even better yet, go to your credit union who've got better rates than the banks.
All right. We are caught up on my end with text and anonymous feedback.
Okay.
Okay. Rick, do you have any?
Well, we're actually a little quiet down here, except for Donovan did come in and says, in his opinion, Akibono brake pads all the way. He likes the Akibonos.
How about that? See?
Akibono.
Yeah.
I like that word.
I do.
Akibano.
And they're actually
Is
the
it
company
made in Ireland?
I think so. Sweden.
Sicily.
they're actually the company that makes the brake pads for Toyota and Lexus.
Yeah, you said that earlier. That's
And
Not Lexus,
Donovan
though.
is just great, isn't he? Every week, or just about every week, he's always with us, and he is informing us, and he's also asking some great questions.
And I loved his music back in the 60s.
Yeah. Do you?
Well, I wasn't around in the 60s except for a couple of years.
I was going to say.
You know, as long as we have a lull here with no calls,
Excuse me.
Ashley Moody.
We have a call.
Ashley Moody did win the election.
She did.
And I predicted she would, and it was a landslide. I'll give you the details after we take this call.
Well, go ahead.
How did
Go
you?
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm
How
not.
did you know?
She exploded my phone. Okay, on a more serious side, let's talk to John from Palm City, another one of our callers that inform us week in and week out, and he doesn't miss a show. Welcome, John.
Good morning to everyone. I have two questions for Rick. One is on tires. One is a shady dealer that mounts the tires backwards. All tires are approved in the United States by the DOT. All kinds of symbols on them. Won't get into details, but the tire has to be approved no matter what country it's from, and all the numbers mean something on it. But the most important number is the day code. So some of the shady tire dealers will mount that tire backwards from the inside. You won't be able to see these actual numbers. And the importance about that, but I want to ask Rick, would that affect the balancing of the tire when it's installed backwards?
Actually, that's going to depend on the tire. Some tires can go on either way, and what a good mechanic will look for is the manufacturer will usually put a little red or yellow dot or circle on the tire. And when you see that, normally you're meant to line that spot up with the valve stem of the wheel, because that will give you the closest to zero balance that you can for that tire. It means they'll use the least amount of added weight in order to get it in balance. Some tires, a lot of tires though, are what's known as directional, and the tread has to go in a specific direction. You'll actually see an arrow on the tire saying this direction forwards, or the tire will say inside and outside on the sidewall, telling you which way that tire should be mounted up. And sometimes that does not align with where they put the DOT number. So if that DOT number is on the outside, on a tire that says outside, then you're okay with that. But if the tire has simply an arrow and is meant to go one direction forwards,
What percentage are directional?
probably 50% anymore.
Huh.
And we actually have to watch for that. And I've actually had cars come in, and I look at as I'm inspecting the tread on the tires, looking to see if there's any nails or anything in the tire. I have found tires mounted up backwards with 3 tires mounted properly, and 1 is mounted backwards on the rim. And then I get with the writer and say, hey, we got to fix this. We got to put this tire back where it's supposed to go. That way the tire will perform properly in rainy or wet conditions.
Yeah, I never thought about this in my entire life.
Wow.
I never thought about it. And when John, when you said backwards, I said, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And now that's amazing. See, I learn something on every show.
Interesting.
It's little things,
You've
but
already
it's...
answered my second question, because some tires have a red dot on them.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the valve stem should be actually lined up with that. So
Exactly.
You've answered my
Yeah,
second
yeah.
question, but the most important part is the day code. Very simple. It's a 4-digit code, okay? I'll give you, for instance, 2619, which simply means that tire was made the 26th week of 2019.
Yep.
Now, the National Street Hot Rod Association, the NSRA, will read your tire if its car is entered in a official show of NSRE, and if the code is over 10 years, that car will not receive a safety sticker, and they won't be able to race. So it shows the importance of not keeping a tire on your car that's 10 years or more older. It's dangerous, it can be hazardous, and it's hazardous not only to you but to people on the road.
John, that's
So that's what I wanted to say. That's very important.
I appreciate that. You said one thing that I don't agree with. It's not simple. I mean, the number code is ludicrous when you stop and think about it. I mean, every other date, every date you look at has a format. You put the month, the day, and the year. So why can't they just put the month, the day of the year, which is the date of the manufacturer?
I'll tell you why.
There is a reason for that.
I know the
Oh.
reason.
And that is because Great Britain and Europe put the day, then the month, then the year, and so does the U.S. military.
Well, yeah, but you can
Well,
put 3 of them on there.
I've
When
been-
you buy clothes,
I've been
they have
done.
U.S., European, and that.
Right,
You put-
I've been thinking about this a lot,
Yeah.
and I did a little
yeah, get a
Google
life.
too.
Get
Huh?
a life. Get a life.
Sorry.
will you?
Well,
I was
I don't
no,
want to confuse people.
Well, this is why. No, John, it's okay because
Prior to
well, the week
2000,
number thing
there was
on the
no
day.
4-digit code.
Okay.
The
And we
tires
forgot we have a
prior
caller.
All right.
to 2000 had a 3-digit code, so I don't want to get into that at all.
right,
But
sorry.
I'm glad
Oh,
you
come on,
answered
why not?
The tire question, but question for Earl now.
Okay.
We're circling
Earl,
back
are
to
you
this.
a member of the Tesla Owners Club of Florida?
I don't think I am. I
Okay.
get a lot of email, but maybe
They want you to lead this year's parade.
My friend is in it. It's the greatest thing. It's a non-profit. You can text it. Tesla Owners Florida.org.
Okay,
Fantastic
I'm writing it
stuff.
down.
I mean, it's social events. It's a must, absolutely must, and it brings out the fun of the Tesla cars.
Social events, Dad.
Repeat that, John.
TeslaOwnersFlorida.org.
Or, yeah, very good.
It's a
Look at it.
nonprofit organization.
There goes my
It's a
schedule.
501c7, and it's official, recognized by Tesla, and it's Tesla Owners of Florida.
All right, well, thanks, John. I
Fantastic.
appreciate that.
I recommend it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much
Thanks,
for the
John.
tire information. Be careful. And just one other fast thing on a tire. The difference between an expensive tire and a cheaper tire is you look specifically for the tread life. For instance, a 220 tread life will last twice as longer than a reading of 110 on it.
Yeah,
That's all I have to say about tires.
thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
John.
guys. Thank you.
So back on the date thing for real.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it because with Toyota, when we look at the manufacturing or our new car allocations as they're producing new cars, we get it on this very technical looking printout. Well, we don't print it anymore, but it's on the computer with the VIN number and a bunch of codes for all the accessories and a bunch of stuff. But we track them using the week number, and everything is used by a week number. And it took me a long time ago, to get used to this. You'd say, okay, it's week 36. You have to know intuitively when that in the year where that falls. And I wondered if is that a standardized manufacturing thing. I didn't go to college for business or manufacturing, and I looked it up, and there is a standardized thing for manufacturing. It's the ISO calendar, and it's based on weeks, and it's for international, and it was standardized a long time ago.
But consumers don't know
I
that.
know. And I said, so this is what it was designed by engineers and manufacturers
Yeah, inside.
without any consideration of the people who also will be using the
Yeah,
information.
it makes people feel superior to use in language.
Right.
So Rick, he can talk about some really complicated transmission thing, and at a party, and he's
Right.
talking
Using
and
no
said,
English.
Boy, that guy must be smart.
Yeah, using no English. He
I
can-
can't
he-
understand a word he's
Right.
saying. He must really be smart.
Hey, Rick,
So,
don't you feel powerful?
Yeah. And even,
I do.
even in the sales department, everything is with code, so it's model numbers and codes. I need 25
doctors
32.
love doing that too.
Yeah.
A doctor wants you to say, what do you mean by that,
Yeah, but
doctor?
you're supposed to keep
and then
that
he
in the back
feels,
office.
Oh, I went to medical school for 14 years.
And you're going to know it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to make sure everybody knows it.
Yeah, this is on a funnier side. I love through going to school, and the doctor will turn around to me and say, "Did you go to medical school?" Because he feels so
And it ma-
intimidated.
and it makes you
'Cause
feel real smart.
I'm throwing around temporomandibular joint, occipital. I'm throwing around your.
We just rely on Rick for the technical stuff around here.
But I love doing that. Rick loves doing it.
The lithium crystals are cracking a bit.
All right, Scotty. Okay, we have some text.
Okay.
This is from Steve in New Jersey. He says, "Hi, Earl. The February 2019 Consumer Reports article, Crash Test Bias, talks about what Anne-Marie texted this morning. In it, women are 17% more likely than men to die in an accident and 73% more likely to be injured in a frontal collision. Volvo, in particular, leads the crash research and interior safety design, particularly for women. In my opinion, from the research, Sweden leads in his opinion. Also, Europe's new car assessment program, NCAP, is far more advanced in testing for whiplash injury, which is the leading cause of car injuries by far. Unfortunately, this is not new news. I haven't seen our government, insurance industry, or other OEMs making any progress on this topic. And they sent along the Consumer Reports article. Thank you, Steve.
That's from the Consumer Reports article.
Yeah.
I wonder how long ago that was, because from AAA,
3 years ago.
I have the statistics of 20 to 28%.
Yeah.
20 to 28% likely that a woman will be killed in a car accident. 37 to 73% more likely to be seriously injured.
Yeah.
So I'm going to interrupt Stu, and I'm going to take advantage of a moment that I extended an invitation to the ladies this morning. $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. This is an important topic, ladies. How do you feel? How do you feel about female dummies being tested in a different way? Give us a call, 877-960-9960.
You have to be
Now
careful how you use that phrase, female dummies.
back to, boy, everyone's, and what do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I got one quick question here on YouTube. Hey, Stu.
Yep.
Jay Zuno says, "Good morning, all. My wife and I just put a down payment on a 23 Toyota 4Runner from your dealership. We added some extras. Is the 6-month window a reality?"
It's a reality. But I will tell you this, that the estimates we give, we're giving generous estimates. They're realistic, but they're on the outside time. Occasionally, well, not occasionally, I would say every month, probably 10% of the, well, that's not a good math measure. We lose people, drop orders every single month, and so people do move up quicker depending on the car.
And
So
just practical advice for the listeners about this subject about ordering cars. If you're going to order a car, whether it's a Honda, Ford, Cadillac, whatever you're going to order, forget about certain specific things that you like color and trim. If you want to get a car in a faster amount of time, think about the cars that the manufacturer is building the most of, and that includes colors, trim, engines, accessories.
Yeah.
If you order a unique car, you can wait a year or more.
And if you came to us and said, I just need a car, give me the first car that's available, I don't care what it is, what the price is, you'll probably get one in that month.
Oh, you get one, yeah, because people will cancel cars. Cars will come in.
Well-
if you just say, I need a car in a hurry, I don't care what it is, you can get one tomorrow. I mean, it's a slight exaggeration, but...
Right, if you don't care what you pay, you can go anywhere.
Yeah, but the more specific you get, and the salesperson should tell you that, because typically they just take the order and but you need to get something that is fairly commonly built by the manufacturer. The manufacturers do not build your car to order. That is a myth. If you write the order out, the salesman leads you to believe, okay, I'm going to go to Honda, and they're going to give that to the shop foreman, and he'll say, okay, we're going to build this. It doesn't happen that way. Honda and all the manufacturers build the cars that they know people are buying the most of, and that's the way they have to do it. You want a unique car, you're going to wait and wait and wait.
How about the rebuilding of a car that you want, adding your personal touch to it? I mean, are you going to get it in this lifetime? I don't think so. Not like it was, well, yesterday, and I don't mean that literally. Stu, I have a question for you. I had somebody call me about, I guess 7:30 p.m., and it was a prospective customer, and they were inquiring about the Crown. And you know, when you get a call at that hour, they're really serious about looking for that vehicle. Well, they were.
Sorry.
That's what I can say. We weren't. We were in bed. At any rate,
Sorry.
you're a real comedian. At any rate, he was misled. The Crown isn't there, not until 2023.
Yeah.
And also, he was comparing the Crown to an Avalon, and he was saying that he was like 6'4" and 6 feet 4 inches tall, and that he thought that he would fit as well in the Crown as he did the Avalon. Well, I was a little skeptical. What's your opinion?
Well, somebody asked me about this last week. We put them. She went on the list, even though they're not being made yet. We're expecting them to be a very small number of production. I mean, we're talking about a brand new model. I mean, well, Camrys they're struggling
We're
to produce.
spending way too much time on Toyota right now.
Well, we'll wrap it up. It's going to be a long time, and probably into 2024 before most people will actually get to drive one.
Yeah, exactly.
All
I heard Dodge is going to bring back the Barracuda.
Yay!
right.
He's going to ask you to leave. And me. 877-960-9960. You can text us at 772-497-6530. Are we having fun here this morning, folks? We sure are. And we love our listeners, our texters, YouTube, all of you. You make the show. Give us a call, 877-960-9960. Text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to go back to the phones, and we are going to talk to Mike. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Hi. I have a question about a 2014 used car that I purchased, a Cadillac ATS. I would make a suggestion to the audience: don't ever buy a used car unless you take it to a mechanic you can trust first, to go through your car thoroughly, to find out what's wrong with it, and then before you buy it from that particular dealer, you address those particular problems, because otherwise it's on you and you can have a lot of headaches. I have had many headaches.
Good advice.
So that's advice. Now my problem is this currently. It's an air conditioning problem. What I get now is cold air, and not very cold air, coming out of one side of my car, which is the driver's side, fortunately, and hot air coming out of the other two vents on the passenger side. And no matter what I try to do, I can't get it resolved where I have cold air coming out of all four vents. And somebody has told me it's an actuator problem, which I don't know what that is, but they said take your battery cables and clank them together, and the actuators may reset. Now, I don't know what that's all about, but I'd like to find out if you have any suggestions as to how to resolve that problem.
The first thing that I would do on a car like that is I would totally evacuate and recharge the air conditioning
Is that
system.
a mandatory evacuation?
Yeah, unfortunately it is. Yep. Basically what that means is the when you get cold air on one side or cool air on one side and then warm air on the other side, most likely you have a leak in your system, a small leak, and the refrigerant has started to get to a low charge. And a mechanic would be able to put gauges on it and tell by the gauges, yes, that charge is low. The pressures are not coming up where they ought to be. But they can hook up the machine, basically recover all the refrigerant from the car and draw it down into a vacuum state. So there's no air left inside the system at all. Completely vacuum it down and then recharge it with the Freon again. The R1, you said it was a 14, so that's probably going to be R134A gas. And once it's recharged again, then you should get cold air across the board, everything nice and cold. Now, most shops would be able to do this for you for somewhere around $100 to $150, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And what I usually recommend to someone on an older car like that is recharge the system back to full pressure. And you're kind of throwing the dice on it, because a lot of times that tiny little leak will stay tiny, and you might get another 6-8 months to a year out of that inexpensive type repair. Sometimes getting it back to full pressure, that tiny little leak suddenly says, boop, I'm a big leak now, and then it makes it very easy to find, and you can go from there to decide, do you want to fix it or not, by actually replacing whatever component is leaking.
May I ask this? Can I just take a leak detector, put it in the charge adapter where you do the filling, and take a look with an ultraviolet light to see where the leak is myself?
Not really, because leak detection is actually done one of two ways. The first way is what's called a sniffer device, and this is actually a handheld device that we move around different locations, and it is supposed to detect the leaking gas and beep and light up, and they don't work for anything. They're horrible. They almost never work. The other option is actually we shoot a ultraviolet dye into the refrigeration system, and then wherever it starts to leak from, you put on these very fashionable looking yellow glasses and hit it with a high-powered ultraviolet light, just basically a black light, and that dye will begin to fluoresce, and it will show up where the leak is. The problem is if the leak is inside the evaporator core up under the dash, you can't see it because it's all enclosed in a box.
Yes, right. Well, okay, that's a rather reasonable price to pay to get that, to find out what the problem is. But let me ask you this. You're suggesting evacuate the system, hold on to that Freon, and add to it whatever is necessary after the repair has been made. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. The second question is, if I can detect the leak myself, it may be repairable by my own mechanical ability as opposed to paying $100, $150. That's why I asked that question.
True, but in order to recharge the system, you've got to have the proper equipment to draw it down into a full vacuum. You can't just simply put Freon in it, because without having it in a full vacuum, the gas won't be able to fill the system properly, and it can cause you a whole lot of hassles.
It's like when you fill up a lighter with lighter fluid. You
Very
gotta bleed it
similar.
first.
That infers then that I can't just take.
Could you use a dog for a sniffer device?
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, they got great. A beagle might be better than the tool you're using.
Bloodhound.
No?
Bloodhound, I said.
Oh, okay.
Bloodhound.
Earl, me?
Would I be
Could
doing
use
any
me.
damage if I can't do it?
I'm sorry?
Would I be causing any real problems if I just attempted to add more Freon to the system?
Not really. They do make the recharge kits, but they are kind of difficult to use. And the drawback to it is if you get too much refrigerant in the system, then it won't blow cold either. There's like a very happy medium where it's got to be at an exact level of charge that you'll get that optimum cold air. If you get too much, it won't work, and too little, it won't work.
I learn something new every day. So you go out to the customer and you say, the problem with your vehicle is it's got too much Freon.
It could be.
Immediately they say, you need the Freon.
I've seen that happen.
Wow.
Because they do it themselves.
Yep.
Interesting.
You learned 2 new things today.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was saying then, the only way to do it properly is you have to have the gauges like you do on your home air conditioning system in order to determine what the pressures are and all that. Is that what you're saying? That's why
Right.
You have to have a mechanic if you don't have those gauges.
And technically, by law, you're not allowed to release the gas into the atmosphere. You have to use a machine that captures the gas, and it runs it through a filter, and then we reuse that R134.
Ozone later.
But of course, it's okay to put all the carbon monoxide into the air.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wish we could capture
They
that.
should be arresting all those cows that are creating the methane problem.
Oh, jeez.
Where are you going to put the hoof cuffs?
A lot of the toxins in the
Balloons.
and sulfur dioxide and certain nitrous oxide for sure.
That's bad.
Well, thanks for the information. I appreciate it. I think that might.
You're welcome,
go
Mike.
a long way.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Keep on listening. 877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Remember, we have that mystery shopping report coming up. I think we're going to go back to Stu.
You can go back to me, but I have nothing to read.
Well, say something profound.
I have something humorous and very interesting.
Well, you've got our attention.
As you know, if you listen to the show, Tesla is the only manufacturer that can sell you a car direct. All the other manufacturers have to go through dealers who are evil people that take advantage of you. But Tesla is really shaking up the whole industry with the fact that they are able to market directly to you from the manufacturing. Now, in New Mexico, they won't. They really have a hardcore law that won't allow them to sell. Period. I mean, there's this. So what Elon Musk has done with Tesla is he's made a deal with the Indian tribe of New Mexico. And so the Indian tribe, just like they do in Florida and other states with gambling, they bypass federal laws, and this Indian tribe
And state laws.
So there is now a partnership between Tesla and the
Navajo?
I
Paiute?
can't think of the name of the tribe. It's
What state?
They
New
didn't-
Mexico?
yeah.
New Mexico.
I don't know.
So, but even that's humorous, but it's also predictive and indicative of what's going to happen.
So they're going to
eventually.
open dealerships on Indian reservations like they have casinos?
Well, they'll probably have the headquarters there or something like that. So they see the law says right now that if you're a dealer, if you're an auto manufacturer, you cannot sell cars in New Mexico. Period. And so Elon Musk is going to bypass that law, the state law.
Right. By going through the Native American tribes. That's
The
great.
state will challenge it.
Interesting.
It'll be fun.
Elon Musk, always thinking.
Yeah.
And he is ahead of the game, always. Proof. If you don't know about Elon Musk, it's a good read. definitely. Everything he's done. 877-960-9960. And you can text us at 772-497-6530. Now we're going to go back to Stu.
Yeah, Bob has a text. He had a question about brake pads before, but he has another one for Rick in regarding the tire pressure monitoring system, TPMS. My next question is, the car manufacturers put tire air pressure devices on most vehicles now. Why not on the spare tire, which most people forget to check? I have a 2017 Sienna, and it's a real pain in the butt to check. Thanks again.
They should.
I agree. The Toyota actually started out putting them on any vehicle that had a full-size spare. You had 5 sensors. And for some reason, they stopped doing it. And I think that's the most foolish thing in the world.
Yeah.
I understand the idea of not having a sensor in the compact donut spare, but almost nobody checks the spare tire pressures. I mean, my truck, I've got it pretty easy to check because when I put it in the air to do an oil change or something, I can walk right back to where it's hanging under the vehicle. But we get so many customer cars that come in, I open up the back of the car, the trunk, and I've got to pull tons of stuff out of cars sometimes just to get down to check their spare tire pressure.
Sure. Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of shops out there, they won't do it. They're not going to haul all that stuff out of your car to check your spare, and then you're going to get caught one day.
Okay.
Annoying.
That's a great bit of advice. Keep that thing cleared out when you go in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my other bit of advice is for about $30 or $40 or less, get a little air pump that plugs into your power outlet in your car and have it in the car just tucked in a corner somewhere, because that one time you need it, it's going to pay for itself 100 times over.
I agree with you 100%. That's exactly where mine is.
Okay. I'm all caught up.
Okay. How about you, Rick?
Well, I got a couple of notes here. By the way, Stu, Casey, when they asked if the BZ4X was ready, and you said you drove it in, it says, I take it the wheels stayed on it.
I made it here safely.
And Donovan says that Tesla's already doing this in Arizona. They have a delivery center and service center on tribal land. It gets around the franchise laws because tribal land is not subject to state or federal laws in the same manner that every other place in the U.S. is.
It's sovereign.
I'm surprised they hadn't made the deal with the Seminoles in Florida.
Yeah. Well,
There's
any
an
day now.
opportunity for you Seminoles listening. You could possibly
Get in the car business.
do a deal. Yeah, do a deal with Tesla, Elon Musk. Well, they're big. I mean, they don't need it.
And we'll hold seminars.
They got gambling, so the Seminoles are doing quite well.
Car dealers,
That's what-
gambling.
Yeah,
They're
One
really-
door
they're going
closes,
crazy down
another one opens.
yeah.
Yes,
cheap
indeed.
cigarettes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Earl Stewart on Cars, and our calls have, we're in a little bit of a lull right now. I'll give you that number again, 877-960-9960. Ladies, heads up, $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. Whatever you have to share with us or inform us about, 877-960-9960. $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. And we're going to go back to the recovering car dealer.
Yeah, I was saying before, my blog, and Nancy, I think, has a copy of my last blog. I thought it was kind of interesting. I mean, it wasn't really scary, but I forecast the day before the Ashley Moody, on Monday, I forecasted Ashley Moody, who was running for Attorney General, kind of a joke because everybody knew she'd be elected. And I said the title to the blog is Florida Car Dealers Rejoice, Ashley Moody reelected Florida Attorney General in landslide. And I did that the day before, and you make a prediction. It's just people say, well, you could be wrong, really be embarrassed. Well, that's how sure I was. In fact, I looked up the numbers, and she was running against someone nobody heard of before by the name of Ayala, another female attorney.
And we met her at the speaking engagement.
So, yeah. And the final vote was Ashley Moody, 2,000,000 614,329 votes to Ayala's 1,091,000. So it was a 42% margin, which qualifies for a landslide. And you knew it was going to happen. It's our system, and the auto not the manufacturers, the auto dealers strongly supported Ashley Moody. I talked about it last week on the air when I was talking about the investigative reporter from WPLG who cornered Ashley Moody and asked about the donations by the dealers. And he found out that 81 car dealers had donated $161,000 to Ashley Moody, 81 dealers. Well, in addition to that, you have family members, relatives of those dealers that donated. In addition to that, you have the multiple associations, car dealers. Car dealer associations are basically lobbying groups, and you have National Automobile Dealers Association. Every state has one. We have several in Florida Automobile Dealers, and then Florida has the Jacksonville, and they have the Orlando. No, FAD is in Orlando. They have Tampa. Miami has a very large one, very large dealer association, and they're lobbying groups, and they give millions of dollars to politicians. So that's our system. I mean, I'm not being, I guess I am being a little facetious, but that's our system, right? Special interest groups have lobbyists. They go to Washington. They go to the state capitals, Tallahassee in Florida, and they schmooze the politicians, and they grease their bombs, and that's the system. So you can rest assured that Ashley Moody, the Attorney General, she's got another 4 years now. Do you think she will be jumping in and enforcing the laws of Florida against car dealers? No, she won't. And that's the life in American politics. That's the way it goes. The only way to I guess, force her to do that is by making the complaints. When you make a complaint, then she has to do something. The problem is the complaint process is so awkward to fill out. If you filled out any state or federal form, it's difficult. It's not easy to do. So for every time a car dealer takes advantage of somebody, maybe 1 out of 100, there's going to be a complaint filed. Probably less than that. So
I really think that if Jeff has anything to do with it, and folks out there, if you're not familiar with whom I'm speaking of, that's Jeff Weinseer. And boy, he's done a great job investigating. He is an investigative reporter, and he got a response from Ashley. And I think there's more good things to come. I really have to think that there's more positive in the air all around us.
Well, she said there was an investigation going on, but she couldn't comment on it.
Yeah.
And I just don't believe that. Afterwards, after the interview, Jeff Weinseer, WPLG, accidentally caught her, Ashley Moody, to talk, and she had to kind of stutter a few replies. And she, oh, yeah, we have something under investigation right now, but I can't comment on it. And then after the conversation with Jeff Weinseer, her press agent called Jeff Weinseer up and really chewed him out. Said, how dare you accost our Attorney General, and what are you talking about, and blah, 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 blah. So
that was very telling.
Yeah, it was.
Very telling. But the fact that we're sitting here and we're having a conversation about her, about Jeff, this is positive.
Yeah.
And I really think that there are some things that are going to happen that are going to change everything, and we are going to get the help that we so badly need in this industry. Give us a call. How do you feel? 877-960-9960. Text us 772-497-6530. Take advantage of youranonymousfeedback.com. We're going back to the phones where we are going to talk to Joanna, and she's calling us from West Palm Beach, and she is a first-time caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm so excited to be on the radio with you guys.
Oh, thank you so much. You won yourself $50. Don't forget to stay on the line when we're finished and talk to Jeremy in our control studio to give him your contact information, where he will pass that along to me, and I'll send out the $50 check.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. I listen to you guys a lot, and I don't know much about cars, but I know some. And I just enjoy it for whoever's calling. But the reason why I was calling, I have a close friend, and she's got a 2016 Toyota Highlander, and she got a recall on her Toyota. She's got a pearl white, and they recalled it for painting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just really wondering. I have a 2012 Scion XD as in David. I love it. I got it from Earl Stewart Toyota, and it was at the right time for me to get it. And I love the car. It's got 120,000 miles on it, and it runs really well. The problem is the front and the top. The paint is coming up. It's as if I live right by the water, and I don't. I live west. And I know that Toyotas have been infamous for not good paint, like not for the paint jobs to last. And I was just kind of curious, with her, she's got the appointment this week to go,
Right.
and she doesn't really know what it means to, and if they're going to fix it or if it's going to be money out of her pocket. But I mean, I've got a beautiful blue car. It's like almost a navy, a royal.
I remember that color.
Blue.
I remember.
And it was the color. I went online and I actually picked out what I wanted, and I got exactly what I wanted, and there was only one left. So it was just great. I pretty much rolled in my Honda Accord, and I couldn't leave.
Lucky you.
That recall on the paint, it is on certain models and certain colors, and I don't know, and I don't recall hearing anything. I don't recall about this recall on Scion XBs, but you can call in and just ask to speak to our in our body shop and ask if that's if it is included. I don't think it is though, and also I do know that they are wrapping up this campaign because it was a limited thing. And we just got a notification that just a reminder that it is coming to an end soon. But definitely check it out. It was great for a lot of people who were getting full repaints on their cars, and what was happening was the paint was peeling off. They called it delamination, but it just meant that the paint was peeling off.
Yeah, and that's what seems to happen with Toyotas a lot. I don't know about the new ones, but
Yeah, you're right about that, Joanna.
They haven't been around long enough to find out.
You're right about the paint peeling, and I had a few complaints quite some time ago about the paint peeling, dashboard problems, and here we are. The elements. There's a lot of things that play into a factor of the deterioration of a vehicle. Good luck with whether or not you would be covered.
Well, I did want to say, too, that I love Earl Stewart Toyota dealership. They're the best. I've referred a lot of people. People referred me. And I had a really good experience. I had, at one point when I had the car, I was going there regular for maintenance. And I had to pick up the red phone. And
What did we do?
ran to me as I was picking up the red phone. I got compensated for the issue that I did have that they made a mistake on, but they compensated it more than ever.
Oh, great.
That's what the red phone's for.
Yeah.
Even if you don't pick it up, just the threat. just the idea of it.
Go over there, I know.
Do you feel the energy all around it? Zzz. Anyway, Joanna, what a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And I know you could use $50, and it's yours for the taking. Leave your information with Jeremy, and I'll get it out to you.
Okay, thank you.
Spread the word. We're building a platform here for the ladies. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Well, I would go back to the headlines that we've seen of the car prices are coming down, and I get this question all the time. I mean, people recognize me, say, should I buy a car now? And I feel embarrassed because I've been predicting that the prices are going to come down for 2 years, and they never did. Now, they are coming down now slowly. So a blog I wrote, I think 3 weeks ago, is now is the time to begin the searching process. Now is the time to begin the investigation. You check the consumer reports. Decide what you want to buy. Don't leave it up to emotion. I know shopping is fun. I know a lot of people enjoy it, and you like to go out and look at the shiny new objects. But the car dealers rely on that. They rely on you making an emotional decision. So please, begin your car shopping process by Consumer Reports, the Bible. Go online, go to your public library if you don't want to pay for a subscription. You can go online at the library. Most libraries now have PCs available, and they have access directly to Consumer Reports. Decide what the better cars are. They don't tell you the exact car to buy, but the one thing I always say about Consumer Reports, if you don't buy the recommended car, okay, just don't buy the ones that aren't recommended. We had a caller earlier, a great guy, and there are a lot of other people out there that buy cars that are not quality. This person called about a Jeep. Jeeps are, Jeeps are a hot-selling car now. The Jeep dealers and the whole Chrysler Corporation, Stellantis, they call themselves now, they wouldn't be alive today if it weren't for Jeep. But Jeep is not a good quality car.
I saw a grown man driving down the road in a Jeep with no doors on.
Yeah. So, point is, decide what you want to buy first. Then, you start searching around. If you do your due diligence, it's going to take you a month or two to finally consummate the purchase of the vehicle you want. So, in a month or two, prices are going to be way down compared to the way things are going now. One other thing is that you want to be sure that the dealer, I know you're going to choose your car. You want to choose the dealer, and you want to be able to have a out the door price from the dealer. That's the hardest thing you're going to have to do. It'll be easier to choose the car you want than to find the dealer that will give you an out the door price. An out the door price is simply the price that you can write a check for, hand it to the salesman, and take the car home. But to get that out the door price is like pulling teeth. Very, very difficult to get it done. So that's my advice. Rick?
This one's coming in from Bruno Rated R, and it fits right in. He says, is Value Shield worth it on your car?
No. I don't even know what Value Shield is.
Value Shield could either be something that you buy and then you make an intelligent decision about, or it's something that's put on an addendum.
Everybody sells. You buy a shiny new car. It costs a fortune to paint a car today. I mean, you're talking about $10,000 to paint some cars.
Yep.
So they have this. They come out with these things like Value Shield and Crystal Protect, and there's a million of them, and the dealers jump on
Crystal
this.
Fusion.
Huh?
Crystal Fusion.
Yeah, Crystal Fusion.
Keep
Crystal
resorting to
Blue
music.
Persuasion.
I think she was a stripper.
She probably was.
Yeah. So ignore all of the sealants, the protection packages, all these things. Let's face it, folks. The manufacturers aren't stupid. They really want to give you good paint, and the paint that they have on is pretty good if you take care of the car. Didn't used to be, and there's still some paint issues. I'm not saying there aren't paint issues, but don't spend hundreds of dollars on something that comes in a can that's going to protect your car forever against environmental fallout.
It reminds me of
Exactly.
some of those like those mouth rinses. Like if you rinse your mouth with this, you're not gonna get any cavities. I mean, you got to brush your teeth and
Ain't
do the
going to
regular
happen
stuff.
that
Well, you only.
And one
it's-
thing to be
Maybe
aware
that's-
of,
never
too,
mind.
with
Maybe that
car
stuff
painting-
works. I take that back.
With car painting, it's kind of like, remember we used to get things chrome back in the 60s. It was, chrome was everywhere. But the EPA came down and said to the manufacturers, you can't use certain of these chemicals anymore in chroming because it's dangerous for the environment. Mm-hmm. And they're doing the same thing with a lot of auto paint systems. The chemicals have been found to be so dangerous that they're having to find new ways to create these paints and get them on.
They've developed water-based paints.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of them, don't work like the old paint used to work. So they're having issues there.
I don't agree with
The
that.
minus, the plus.
And I have one other here from Extreme Rides who says Tesla's used values have plummeted, in some cases down 30% on used car prices on Tesla.
Well, if you have the battery is the heart of course, an EV. And so if you have a real old electric vehicle and you're looking at time to replace the battery, obviously it's going to be a bad, I recommend leasing your electric vehicles.
Okay, we are going to go back to the phones where Howard's holding. Howard's a regular caller from Jupiter. Good morning, Howard.
Good morning. I hope you're all fine.
Hey, Howard.
Today.
Yes.
And so here's my question. Warranty companies, they're abounding. The television ads, newspapers, and a friend of mine considering buying it, and I said, you're going to have to pay a big premium, and when your car goes into service, you're not going to get your money's worth. And I try to, and still listen to him, and he still went and he bought a warranty service from. It's supposed to be one of the most reputable ones, the first one that came out. Can you talk about this and why you should not buy it? Hello?
We're still here, Howard. We're making a
think-
decision as to who's going to answer that question.
I didn't
Stu's
understand
going
the question, so somebody else better answer it.
Can you repeat it? Because I think some of it came through really at a very low volume for us. I'm turning up my
Yeah,
headphones.
that was part of the problem too.
Okay, my question is why you should not buy a warranty, the Shield warranty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Earl just covered that a little bit. Generally, the Shield warranties, paint shield is what you're talking about, right?
No. I'm talking about the warranty service, not the paint shield.
Like an extended
about-
warranty.
just-
Your service warranty?
Just the extended. Okay, I'm sorry. I got convoluted with the last conversation that we had about the paint shield. Well, Earl can chime in on this as well, but generally speaking, he does not recommend getting an extended warranty. But you have to look at your situation. Are you? It's like any insurance product. It's just a weighing of risk. What's the likelihood? Is there going to be a repair that's going to be costly to me down the road? You're going to consider the new car warranty, which is going to probably cover all of those expenses during the entire length of ownership. Then there's a period of time where you're not covered, and that's the risk. I'll turn it over to
Howard, of all the insurance policies, or that's what it is. It's an insurance policy. It's the highest price. When you buy an extended service contract, extended warranty, or whatever you want to call it, on a car, new or used, the average one is way overpriced, and there are a lot of reasons for that. Biggest reason being that the dealers are involved in this. The dealers typically will own their own warranty companies. In the state of Florida, for example, you could go to the state insurance commissioner's office, or your car dealer, and you got ABC Ford, and you say, ABC Ford, I want to sell a warranty, extended warranty on Fords, and I want to charge $1 million for that, and I'm not going to cover anything. I mean, there's no law that says what it has to cover. All the law says is you have to register with the state. Now you're registered with the state insurance commissioner office, and you can tell the buyer that you're registered. But the prices are just too high, Howard. If it were a competitive, normal insurance product, then you could probably get somewhat of a fair price. If you have to buy an extended contract, buy it from the manufacturer of the car. Ford, Honda, Toyota, the manufacturers all have available extended warranties, and that is, if you have to buy one, the fairest priced.
And you read my mind. That was my second question. Should you buy it from a dealer?
Yeah.
Just answered my second question.
Yeah, don't buy it from buy it from the. I'm not saying we own. At our dealership, we have a warranty company. We try to price it fairly, but I'm not going to push mine over some of the other dealers.
Right. Especially, it's really easy. We all set our prices, so we think we we've priced ours with a good price for the value, but that's it. But you got to look around, and a lot of people have a preference for the manufacturer warranty, and they don't know you can go online and do that. So it requires a whole another level of research before you go buy a car. That should be you should know as much about that if you're considering it as the car you're buying.
And if you're buying a good quality car, you don't need it anyway. That's part of it. It's peace of mind, Howard. People buy insurance for peace of mind. Insurance companies make a lot of money. They take in way more premiums than they pay out in claims. You know that. So the odds are always with a house. You never bet against a house. And when you're buying an extended warranty or an extended service contract, you're betting against the house. House always wins.
And Howard, these insurance companies, let me tell you, they're very clever and very wealthy, and they have a reason. And for me, as far as a warranty is concerned, I want to sit down and I want to know what that warranty doesn't cover. That's exactly what I want to know before I'm going to put my dollar on the table. So I hope we were able to help you. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I just want to say Joe Namath, who's a neighbor of yours, I believe. You lived near him in Pennsylvania or something?
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong. But he's the one that's touting. He's saying, buy this. I'm Joe Namath, and they're using his name to promote sales. And people are gullible. They fall for it.
It's really unfortunate. There's a lot of that going on, and it is a name, it is a brand that's being used, to bring you in, and for you to spend that dollar, or I should say that $5 today.
So what you're saying, actually, if I own a Toyota Camry, I shouldn't worry about it.
If you take care of the Camry, Howard, if you do the factory owner's maintenance, you're never going to need it. I mean.
Unless something crazy happens.
Yeah, unless something. Here's what I tell people when I say an extended warranty. I mean, everybody, that's a slight exaggeration, but every product now has extended warranties. Why? Because they're very profitable. So every time you go in there and you buy a product, ask how much the extended warranty is, and if whatever price they say, you take money out of your own pocket and you put it in the stock market, or you put it in the bank, or you put it into bonds, or you invest it in real estate. I don't care. Make a wise investment with that money that they wanted for the extended service contract, and if something does happen, you've got that investment to draw on, and you're playing with your money, not the house's money. So it's
here's a good way to look at it. Every car is going to can have a mechanical, whether it's a Toyota or a Fiat. I'm making up numbers. A Fiat has a 60% chance of having expensive repairs after the warranty expires, and the Toyota has a 20% chance of having an expensive repair after the warranty expires. And you just got to roll the dice, Howard.
You know what the Fiat stands for, the initials?
Something fix it.
Fix it again, Tony.
Howard, did you know I was a Fiat dealer at one time? I was a Fiat dealer. Boy, I tell you what, I had the most profitable service department.
Fun times.
We didn't make much money when we sold them, but when we fixed them, we made a fortune.
You only sold 100 of them, but you made a fortune when they came back.
Rick?
Earl, you were not exaggerating. If you go on Amazon and try to buy an electric toothbrush, there's a warranty for it.
I figured, yeah.
And back to your question, Howard, if everybody took care of their vehicle like Rick, and forget, that he's a tech and what he does for a living, but he looks at this vehicle like it's his baby. I mean, he knows things about his vehicle that, like a human being, like a little baby. The baby needs fed. He just is very attentive to that vehicle's needs, and therefore, what would he do with a warranty?
That's great. Thank you for your information. I really appreciate your show.
Oh, we appreciate you, Howard.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Rick, what were you going to say?
Well, I got a comment here from Kirk in West by God, Virginia. He says, when the F&I guy started telling me I absolutely had to have this vehicle service contract for my investment, I said, well, you must not have much confidence in the vehicle you're selling. Love that
Love
comeback. Kirk, you are awesome, dude.
I'm telling
awesome.
you. You get the award.
You know, the other, this is probably going to bore 90% of the audience, but the warranty companies, here's why Warren Buffett is one of the world's richest men. Insurance companies, they don't have to pay taxes like other companies do. So if my insurance company that I have, that I go out and I sell a bunch of warranties and extended service contracts, and then I take that, I don't have to pay any tax on that. I invest that in the market or where I want to invest it, and I don't have to pay taxes on the insurance until the premium earns out on the policy. So any insurance policy, if you have a policy that's 5 years or 10 years or 2 years or whatever it is, you pay pro rata. I know I'm getting too technical for most people, but trust me, the money you save on income tax on insurance companies is phenomenal. That's the reason insurance companies are so lucrative. Extended service contracts are insurance companies, basically. So that's why you see so many of them, and that's why Rick just informed me that you can buy an extended warranty on an electric toothbrush. Every manufacturer now has discovered how lucrative insurance companies are. So they form an insurance company. They don't have to pay taxes. They defer the taxes. They sell the warranty for whatever they want to charge. I mean, it's just a great deal for the seller.
Sure is.
Great point.
All right.
Okay, before we get to the mystery shopping report, I want to thank Rick. I want to thank him for enlightening me about the Barracuda. And back when I purchased it, it was a Chrysler, and that was between 1964 and 1974. Well, Rick told me that it will be.
They're looking at it. They're looking at it.
Dodge is going to take a look at it, and it may very well be out there. Don't know when, but it's it's part of the conversation, which makes me happy. I might be driving one of those classic muscle cars. Now, back to reality. We are going to go to the mystery shopping report, and we mystery shopped Greco Ford Delray Beach, and Angel Lightning did a fantastic job, as well as Stu. And you can be part of the voting on whether it's a yay or a nay. And you can do so by texting us at 772-497-6530. We would like you to grade the mystery shopping report. Again, that's 772-497-6530. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
You know, it's been so long since we've done Greco. Is it Greco or
Greco?
Greco, yeah. I was just looking up here how to pronounce Greco. I love Google. Anyway, Greco, they were a New Jersey outfit, and they came to Florida how many years ago?
Oh, gosh.
20? I don't know.
A while ago.
And they started out, I guess, just like they always do, one here, one there. And they own a bunch of stores now. Greco is a family with three brothers and a father.
The fathers, I think, retired, and the three brothers started expanding down here.
Yeah. Okay, Greco, right? Greco Ford, Delray Beach, Florida. Last week, we were horrified by what Agent Lightning, that's our mystery shopper, uncovered at Mapleton's Chrysler Dodge Jeep used car outfit on North Lake Boulevard in Palm Beach Gardens. There was a world record list of expensive, unwanted items. I mean, it was a world's record. There was so much stuff that Stu didn't even want to add it up, and I think Jonathan added it up. And when he told me the total, it was $8,000.
Your calculator blew up.
Yeah.
I got the little E, where it doesn't give you the answer.
Yeah. So it was just, there's no limit, I mean, to what they will do to you today when you're buying a new car, or a used car in this case. The extras made Naples' actual price nearly $8,000 higher than the advertised price. Gee, I choke when I see this.
I'm joking. I'm drinking
State
Rick's
law.
water.
State law. Ashley, are you listening? Ashley Moody, Florida Attorney General. Florida law says the advertised price must include all charges except government fees. And Napleton, in this case here,
He's a repeat offender.
Yeah.
He keeps.
I mean, everybody's got him except you, Federal Trade Commission. $8,000. He's adding $8,000 to the advertised price, Ashley. Do something. Anyway, adding insult to injury, Napleton highlighted Car Guru's a great deal certification on the listing. And this makes me so angry. And Stu, I mean, they're competitors to us. I mean, all the dealers that do this nonsense. So here we have these third-party companies like Car Guru and Auto Trader and Cars.com and all of them, right? All of them.
I think so. Auto Trader was new. Car Gurus did it from the beginning, and Auto Trader in the last year started to do it.
Or longer, yeah. Auto Trader. So when you go to these third-party sources, you're probably going to have a price that is thousands of dollars lower than the real price because the dealers are adding these hidden fees. Simple. It's just unconscionable. What is it? Unconscionable. Unconscionable, yeah. Car Gurus, Auto Trader, and other used car websites rate prices from bad to great. So you go there and you say, oh, I'm going to go into this car dealership because that's a really good price. Well, it's a great price that the dealer told Car Guru, but they don't tell Car Guru, just so they don't tell you the hidden fees that they're adding on top of it. So I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, the only good you're going to get from Auto Trader or Car Guru or the rest of these is you'll find the car that you're looking for, and that's a service, I guess. So then you go to that dealer that has the car, and then you start to beat them up to find out what the out-the-door price is, and that's where the challenge, and that's where you're going to get screwed in the long run. So not only do consumers get duped by the dealer, they get duped by the third-party listing site. And how much do you want to bet salespeople are telling customers, hey, Car Guru or Auto Trader's great deal, and they'll put a sticker on the car, right?
And they'll say, what about all these fees? And like, well, Auto Trader says it's a great deal. That's all included in that.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to say it's all included.
They're going to lie to you, yeah. After Napleton, the next obvious mystery shopping target was a Greco store. It's true that we've documented a gradual improvement in their behavior over the years, Greco, but we haven't shopped. Well, they were really bad when they first came down. They're the Mazda dealer in North Palm Beach. What a joke. But they gradually they've gotten better, and we haven't shopped them in the era of big prices, meaning thousands over MSRP, let alone on the used car lot. Maybe we're predisposed to thinking the worst, but I can't help to think the excesses and temptations of today's market may be too much for the Greco brothers. See, I'm reading my printer copy that doesn't work too well. You gave me the new one, but I have notes on this. Okay. Agent Lightning found a used 2021 Ford Bronco Sport with 13,000 miles listed for sale by Greco Ford for $34,228. And I mean, there it was. That's a copy of the.
And they copied our old logo.
The old, yeah.
That's our old one price logo.
Yeah. So they said, okay, here it is. Here's our price. Okay, here's the report. Speaking as if I were Agent Lightning. I arrived mid-afternoon, walked in the side door, made my way to the front desk, and was greeted by a friendly receptionist. I was just telling the receptionist I was there for a used car when Lex approached, who introduced himself. He asked me to, my printer isn't working well.
Oh, you got to read my copy. He asked me to follow him.
Yeah,
and
I know,
did.
but I have notes on my copy.
Oh, okay.
So Lex pointed to a desk, and we walked over to it and sat. He opened a laptop and asked me if I had a specific model and or price in mind. I told him I was budgeting around $28,000 to $30,000, but depending on the vehicle, I could afford to go up a little higher. I told him I was interested in a smaller SUV, and I'd been searching online and was intrigued by the new Bronco. I've heard a lot about the new Bronco, too. Get a lot of PR. Lex stood and asked me to follow him out onto the lot to look at the inventory. Apparently, he had something in mind. We walked by some Ford Edges, and he dismissed them as base models. I agreed I wasn't interested in them. We found the Bronco I'd seen online, same model, same stock number, no price on the window sticker.
Twice, second week in a row.
Yeah.
Napleton didn't have the price. On
Yeah,
this.
no price on the window sticker. So here we have a situation where we actually specifically identified a car. Agent Lightning, being, she does this for a living, partly, she knows to look for the stock number. When you go into a car dealership and you want to find a car that you've seen advertised, you've got to get something pretty specific, a VIN, a stock number. You really got to nail it down, because bait and switch is the name of the game. If you just come in and say, I'm looking for a white Bronco, you might be led to a different white Bronco than the one you saw advertised. So in this case here, actually Agent Lightning is using far more sophistication than you would. How many people would look at the stock number?
Right.
And
She had. I know that she had the picture on her phone. So
Yeah.
when she stood up there, she said, "Oh, there's listing," and she started looking at it.
So if you can identify the specific car that was advertised, you're miles ahead. They're still going to try to get you, but you're miles ahead than if you let them put you in a different car. That's the definition of bait and switch. Advertise a car that you can advertise for whatever reason very low, and when they come in, switch to something else that looks the same, and that's how they get you.
It's like what I do to pill my dog. I bait him with a spoonful of peanut butter, then I shove a pill in his mouth when he opens his mouth.
Yep.
I like that.
Actually, I put the pill in the peanut
Trick
butter.
him every time, huh?
I give him the peanut butter.
Okay. The window sticker did say one price advantage, but there was no one price. I told Lex I thought this was read the first
Sure.
sentence there.
I told Lex I thought this would be way out of my price range.
Yeah, okay, I got to read the next line. And he replied, not necessarily. He said he'd have to look at the price, so he pulled out his phone and opened an app. Smiling, he told me the price was a little over $34,000. I smiled back, asked him if there was any chance of it being discounted. He said the price could be negotiated.
So what does one price advantage mean?
Yeah, he didn't like discount. He said, "Yeah, well, you can't discount, but we'll negotiate." Lex excused himself to get the keys so we could take it out for a test drive. I waited by the car for just about 5 minutes before he got back, and we took it for a spin. On the drive, Lex told me what a hot product the new Bronco is right now. I told him I knew that. That's why I thought I couldn't afford it. I told him I hoped he wasn't getting my hopes up. We returned, went back to sit at the same desk. Les asked me for the phone number. I came up in the system. That's where I get nervous. And he asked me to verify if my address and my email were accurate, but sure enough, they didn't bust Agent Lightning. She'd been there before, and as Stu pointed out earlier, so many people come in that don't buy. It isn't a big deal. They don't remember you if you don't buy.
And the other thing, notes. There's a lot of things these systems can do.
But they don't do it.
Most use the basic things just to get them organized, but there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get used.
Yeah. I confirmed everything was still the same. Lex asked if I was planning to finance or pay cash. I said cash, but wouldn't mind seeing some financing terms. I tell people when they ask you that question, don't rule out financing. You don't have to say I'm going to finance, although I recommend you do if you don't mind being a little devious. When car dealers think they have a shot at you in the F&I department, that's where they make a lot of money financing the car. They'll come down in the negotiation a little lower because they know they're going to have the big shot at you with the financing.
Not these days, but they'll lose money on the front end of a sale.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
No.
But they could still come down a little
no.
bit. Instead of $8,000.
Oh, yeah. I'm saying. But in the old days, they would lose money on the front end of the sale if they knew they were going to kill you in the box.
Exactly. So, word is when you're going in, they don't rule out financing. Say you're going to finance, or at least you're considering financing. That'll make it a little easier to get some flexibility on their price that they hit you with up front. He stood up, said he'd be right back with my pricing. He returned with a worksheet. The top line was $34,228, same as the online listing. Well, sounds good so far, but wait. He added, here we go, $1,649. Add this up. $1,649. The certified activation fee, that's what it was.
That's original.
Yeah.
Because that's very typical. It's a used car.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a certified car. They're charging them for the warranty, but they're calling it a certified activation fee.
I like that. That is a new one. We should have a list of these. I like that. Certified activation fee, $1,649. And then another $19.99 for recon.
Recon.
Yeah, recon.
Reconditioning.
Reconditioning. $249 for a Zurich shield. And we talk about shields and that kind of stuff. It's all nonsense. Zurich. Zurich has got, Switzerland. That's got to be honest. $132.95 in taxable fees. Taxable fees is the test. If they tax the fee, it's not a fee. It's profit to the dealer. If you have to pay sales tax on it, it's not a legitimate fee. And here's the biggie, well, close to the biggie, $999 dock fee. $999 dock fee. So now here we got $5,028.95 in extras. That is a lot of extras, folks. So the real price over the advertised price was nonsense. The real price was $39,256. Do you hear that, Ashley Moody, Florida Attorney General? Breaking the law. Not the one price advantage, $34,228, as the ad claimed. I picked up a laminated sales prop touting one price and laughed, saying, "So much for this." Lex asked me what I'm thinking.
I think I'm going to kill you with this laminated
And,
piece of paper.
yeah. She should have said, "I'm thinking you're a crook." But she didn't do that because she didn't want to be argumentative. I told him I thought the miles were great, but the extras were not. He said he'll speak with his manager about what he could do. And of course, Agent Lightning. I was going to say she walked. She didn't walk. He went and got another worksheet, this time under the sale price, or $34,228. There was a $3,897 discount. That's a big one. Came down $38.97. Then they added the $1,649 certified, here we go, activation fee, the unique fee that we haven't heard the name of before. That's just a certified used car warranty. And then $19.99 reconditioning, the $249 Zurich shield, and the taxable fees, and then the $9.99 dock. So they took all the trash, the junk fees, added it back, which wiped out the $38.97 discount. So now they're only $1,131 higher than the advertised price, the one price. So that was a nice drop they made.
That's three prices.
Yeah.
It's the three price advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. I told Lex I would have to think about it, and he walked me to the door. I didn't even get to see the manager. Darn it. Okay, here's the end note. Greco's Bronco.
Bronco. It's autocorrect, man.
Yeah.
They go crazy on me. I apologize.
Bronco is also, I like Brock. Bronco Sport is also listed on autotrader.com for $34,228. And it's a blue label certified great price. We talked about that before. Auto Trader, shame on you.
You're complicit. You guys are like been around forever.
They're worse than complicit. They're pandering to the dealers because that's where they make their money, and they're co-conspirators. Auto Trader, there's a class action suit, folks. Class action suit.
It's so funny. You're right. They do take care of the dealers. I was just laughing. I go, our Auto Trader rep texted me on Wednesday morning to ask me how I fared during the storm and when to make sure my family was safe.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the storm down here, guys, wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I go, you didn't even call me to see how I was doing. My own father.
Well, I live on the ocean.
Right. I didn't call you.
And I didn't get killed.
Yeah.
So, It was a joke, yeah, the whole thing. I don't know. People get mad at me when I minimize hurricanes because the one on the other coast was terrible.
Yeah, they
So-
can be bad. I just thought it's funny that my Auto Trader rep was worried about me.
But anyway, I just, for some reason now, the anger in me is surging for Auto Trader. Probably because over the years I've really hyped Auto Trader as a, they have every car listed. They are like the gathering spot in the world for car prices. And if you're looking for a car, it's still a good place to go to find a car. Just remember, the Auto Trader price is a lie. And if they rate a dealer as having a low price, it is a lie. They don't probably even examine what the dealer is doing.
They don't know what the car is going to be.
Yeah, they don't, and that's what they use that as an excuse. Oh, all we know is what the dealer tells us. Well, that is, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. You know the dealer's lying to you. They all have the extra fees that they add in there, and because you're trying to make money by selling the dealer, you're afraid to offend them by getting the true price. Costco, I'll say, is still the only game in town, although it's awkward and it's to implement and understand and enforce. At least it's honest. They tell the dealer if you have extra fees, you have to reveal it to the Costco member. And they sometimes do and sometimes they don't. But at least there was effort made. Costco, Auto Trader, Car Guru, they make no effort whatsoever. It's voting time. I was rambling on there.
We had a vote that came in from Jonathan Wellington the moment we said that we're shopping Greco. He gave him an F. That's not fair, Jonathan. They did get better. But he did say, Greco, stop, say no more, automatic F. I think I'm going to say you were prescient in that F. So let me check over here on Facebook. We got some wows, but no grades. I'm going to fail them. My grade is an F. It was total bait and switch, complete illegality, and it was just two bad weeks in a row. I'm disappointed.
Okay, Rick.
Got Negan 1, F plus, way too many fees, but the plus is for the price drop. Okay. Donovan, D minus, so much for one price. Tim Gilliland, D minus, stay away. Rocky Blockatiel, I give him a D. Mark Smith, D. Tom Steckel, C minus. They offset most of the junk fees. Scott Hunter, D. At least they adjusted the price, but still too many fees. Mark Ryan, D minus. Brian Sidlatko, don't walk to the door, run to the door. F. Extreme Rides, D. Their one price is one price plus thousands in junk fees.
Rick, did you say a C minus?
If you're streaming us, you're looking at the Greco family.
There's the boys.
Okay, we're getting down to the wire as far as time is concerned. I say outrageous, shockingly bad, excessive. Attorney General Ashley Moody, help us. Governor DeSantis, you can help too. Earl, your vote.
I got to give them a D. I'm not going to fail them. They're doing what everybody else is doing.
Okay, ladies.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us this morning. Excuse me. As always, we'll be right back here next week, Saturday morning at 8 o'clock.